pastor's day starts early, so it's 6:47. I'm heading out the door. I got my coffee. I've already had my breakfast, had my quiet time, my shower, and I'm off to our area schools. Well, just got done with Bible Club. Had a great talk about Jesus dying, rising from the dead, what that means for us, and had one middle schooler give her life to Christ. Many days I get to church way ahead of everyone else, just for the fact that I've started so early, going to schools and picking up donuts and stuff like that. There's no reason for me to go home. I can't really go back to sleep and get right back up. So I just come on into the office, get a nice head start. I'm a morning person anyway. I'm crazy. Well, now we're up here in my office. Got my calendar on the wall with a little bit of everything. Starting to look like Hebrew, just a bunch of dots and lines. And there's a little sitting area back there. Got my laptop, desktop, my bookshelf that is starting to get some books over here on this end. Most of my books I keep at the house because when I go home, I sometimes study as much as I study here. So I'm going to be here for the next couple hours, preparing lessons, planning trips, and everything from planning games, buying tickets for baseball games, talking to schools, principals, because just walking into the school doesn't happen. You have to meet a principal. You have to set up an appointment. You got to get cleared with security. You gotta do that every time for every school. And if somebody doesn't get back to you, like a teacher or principal, and this gets put off for a while. There's so many things that go into planning a mission trip, or honestly, even just a lock-in. Youth many times are like, hey, can we just do a lock-in? Well, is the building available that night? How much finances do we have? How much food are we gonna have? How many people are gonna be there? How messy are the games gonna be? And if they are gonna be messy, what room can we actually do them in? Do we have any volunteers that can help watch, give guidance? If we go anywhere, who's going to drive? How many cars will we need? When will we be back? There's a lot of stuff. It doesn't just happen. And that's some of the stuff. Only just a fraction of the stuff that I do during the day that's not ministry topics, not lessons, and diving deeper into Scripture. Because when I teach young people, I want to make sure that I am rightly dividing the word of truth. I want to look at it in English. I want to look at it in Hebrew. I want to look at it in commentaries, because as the book of James, y'all probably know my favorite book, the book of James says that not many people should become teachers because we who teach will be judged more strictly. And I take that very seriously. So now I'm up here in the MPC sound booth. MPC means multi-purpose center. But up here with all these computers that you see, this is getting prepared for tonight. We have one computer over here that's actually a touch screen that is just used to control all the lights that we have up here. We have this computer right here, which controls the two TVs on the sides of the stage. And then we have this one down here, which everything that we select and create over here actually gets projected on the entire white wall back there. So there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of stuff to prepare for a Wednesday night or any event What kind of lighting do we want? What is the lesson? Do we have visuals for it? Are they going to be on the screen or not? Words for the songs that the praise band will do. What do we want on the back wall projected and when? Sometimes I have the announcements up there, so I have to plug them on in. Jesse does a whole bunch of creating the logos and the graphics and everything. He does a great job. So right now I'm plugging in everything for the lesson. I'm getting the video, putting it on into Pro Presenter, the announcements, and everything else that we'll need. And got to do that, of course, prior. Then we have some ministry partners that come on in here that are always up here in the sound booth running all the visuals, all the sound for me. And we have a lot more ministry partners that are down there with us, that adults, parents that just come on in and volunteer their time every single week. We always have more than enough, which is amazing, because the more volunteers we have, the more adult partners we have, the more games we can do, the more small groups we can have, the more people to connect with the youth, talk with them, pray with them. It's amazing. Church the size of West Acres has a whole lot of resources. We have whole closets filled with things, products we used before, everything from tablecloths to balloons, almost everything that I need for games on a day-to-day basis. But occasionally there are things that we don't have, such as today I'm going to have a lesson on the crucifixion. Well, here I am in Lowe's, because there's not a whole lot of spikes hanging around the church. So we got some of these. I think these will do the trick. I wasn't there. I don't know exactly what it was like, but this looks like a spike that would have been used. It's got some good weight to it, and it's good enough for an example, at least to get into the youth's mind. What was it like for Jesus on the cross? Another major part of my job is utilizing volunteers who have approached me and say, hey, I'd love to help. We always need to take advantage of that. Number one, if somebody wants to serve and God's laid it on their heart, it's not for me to stop them. I need to try to find something that they can do to utilize their gift and their talent. Also, it helps me. It helps the church as a whole. When pastors begin viewing themselves as the main person, the only person that can do everything good enough, that's when things start falling apart. The minister himself gets stressed out, gets overwhelmed, leads to burnout. The people around who want to help either end up getting upset or just think, well, I'm never going to get used, and just sort of move on, do something else. So a large part of my job is actually connecting with all the people who want to serve. If I have a youth that oversees a game or oversees a handout, I have adult that oversees a sign up. I have a dinner coming up for the church, church-wide dinner, and I'm overseeing it, but that's a big task. I can't and shouldn't do that all by myself. So I'm calling people around the church who say, I would love to help. I know about this kind of food, or I have tablecloths, or I have decorations. Fantastic. So I connect with them, call them, email them, then we brainstorm. What do we want it to look like? What kind of food do we want? What time do we want it to start? How much of everything? And so forth. But as the wheel goes round, all these volunteers make everything go easier and easier. But the more people you have in ministry that are actively serving as the Lord has called them to do, the wheel of the church goes round and round. The church is centered on God. And we pastors are leaders, but I try to be more of an overseer, more of a facilitator. Have everybody doing what they feel called to do, helping them do it, giving them the resources to do it, but we're all moving the same direction, the same pace, and all for the glory of God. It's fantastic. Now, so far you've seen all kind of important and big things when it comes to a day in the life of ministry. You have not seen the biggest thing. That right there. Jesus and caffeine. That's how this happens. All right, at this point, went home, picked up the family. We're heading to Wednesday night church and picked up a couple youth too. Y'all say hi.
Hi.
And this is the more fun part of being a youth pastor.